Hey guys, hi there, thanks for looking in. Bit of a different angle. Got the camera to my other side so you can see what's going on here behind me, and this is my bench in front of me. Got the obligatory Bud Light here, as you all know I love. This is just a quick little snippet. Today is Monday, October 29th. It's what is it, about 8 o'clock in the evening. Had a great day of work, yeah. Still going on with the tracks. You can see here I'm marked 4 tracks now. There's 36 on there and 4 in there, so there's 40 there, and then there's 1 more in the jig, so 41 of the other side. So we're now 75% of the way through. Yes, well no, about 72% of the way through actually. Turns out it's about 90 links a side, even though the instruction says 92, so it's a little bit better, eh? But even just those 4 links, that's 20 parts less to assemble. So yeah, today's Monday, so that means yesterday was Sunday, and I got up and I was a bit sort of, you know, I really want to do something with these Wingnut Wings kits, and this Fokker E4, this one, Fokker E4, was going to be my first, as you know. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll spend 10 minutes and I'll crack on with the engine. I'll just have a look at how the engine goes together and see what this fuss is all about. Oh my god, now I can see what the fuss is all about. So yeah, let's move away from me talking to you and let's look at what I've done with the kit. It's not a lot. It's washing and ironing and, you know, the usual kind of batch of shit to do yesterday. So yeah, so not a lot done modelling wise, but yeah. So let's just pause this here and I'll get you back on the bench down here and I'll show you, these are the parts I've done, and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, right, quick look at the instructions first. So you can see here, this is actually a 14 cylinder engine, so you've got 2 lots of these cylinders. It's an Oberussel U3 engine. The Oberussel U1 was just the single bank of cylinders. Rotary engine, it's not a radial, it's a rotary engine. The engine spins with the prop. So look it up on YouTube, there's some great videos. Yes, I'm still learning. So you put these 2 halves together, there's 2 of those, and then they go in together. You put a spacer in here, then you glue the two cylinder banks together, telling you note direction with the spark plugs on the back, as they are on the picture. Then you go on add the front cover, then you go on add the prop boss, and this is also the gearing now for the push rods. Then you've got push rods going on. Then you turn the engine around and you add the rear cover. Then you add the, I'm guessing it's a magneto type of thing. The plug leads come off of here. Then you're adding like a rear mount. Then you're adding a split collar, which allows the engine to spin. So your prop's actually going to glue to the front of the engine, and the whole engine spins with the prop. And then you come down here, you've got wiring guide, wiring not included. More of that in a second. A little bit of a painting guide, and you've got a decal going on here. Yes, I said decal, not decal, decal, water slide transfer. And then it's telling you to paint the ends, these little pivots on the push rods. It's telling you to paint them in a brass colour. And then we've got the engine fitted into the front of the fuselage. I don't know if you actually fit it here, if they're just showing you what it looks like. And then here we've got an actual photograph of the correct engine. This is the engine as in fitted to the prototype. It's got the 3 machine guns, and these tubes here go down further. The actual bulkhead, this part here, the bulkhead on or the firewall if you're in America, on the prototype was longer than it was on the general production model. So there we go. So that's the instructions. Now let's have a look at the parts. Right, so I've got all the parts here on my trusty Tamiya paint stand, which I use for pretty much everything that I paint. It's a great way of keeping everything stored. You can put it out of the way so it doesn't get knocked over. Really handy little tool, and it comes with these little clamps as well for putting stuff in. You can see I'm using them here for clamping these sprues. Really great little piece of kit. So onto this engine. Here are this is one half of the cylinders. Let me get you some better light here in a second. There we go. This is one half of the cylinders. Obviously you've got the obligatory join between each cylinder bank, but when you actually look at it, it's really nice. The sprue attachment points, very thoughtfully, are actually, you know, when they put them, the actual sprue attachment points is on the mating face rather than on the side. So when you cut it off and sand it flat, you don't actually lose any thin detail. My camera, this is a phone I'm using, it doesn't actually get in there, but let's just see if I can get it to focus. So you can see there's some thin detail on there. It hasn't had a wash yet. Once it's had a wash, it'll all come out lovely. But yeah, you've got that obligatory seam. I did put a little bit of Mr. Surfacer on the top, just in the gap here, because there was a slight gap. But you know, when you actually look at it like this, I'm not really too worried about that seam. I think you make more of a mess of it if you try to cover it up than you would, you know, by just leaving it. So yeah, and that is basically painted with, I've used Guns metal colours, and the cylinders are painted with stainless and then given a quick matte varnish to dull them down, and the actual centre of the block is painted with iron, which is a gunmetal colour, and that's polished with a brush. And then that flange on the front face there, I've just basically masked off like you would a wheel and tyre, and just painted that flange with the Guns stainless colour. Looking at actual photographs of the engines, all I could really find was museum pieces, and all the cases looked like they'd been polished. So I'm going to go with what Wingnut Wings are suggesting, but all the pictures I've seen, the actual casing was a brighter colour than that. And then just quickly, here's the other one, and you can see this is the other way round, and we've got the spark plugs on the back, which I've painted with Tamiya X2 gloss white. Done them gloss so that when the weathering goes on, when the wash goes on, it doesn't pick up on the mat too much. And you can see there, because one half the joints are slightly worse than the others. That's my fault, not Wingnut Wings, but you can see, I mean, they're bloody lovely. Then we've got the front cover, or sorry, the rear cover, I think this is, which is lovely. That's done in Guns metal colour aluminium, given a quick polish with a Q-tip. This is the front push rod area. This is like the front hub. The prop goes on here, and the push rods will go into all these holes. You've got the rear and the front half. This is where the prop goes, and then you've got the holes around here where the push rods go, and you can see it's actually made in two parts, so they didn't have to slide mold it. I mean, it would have been possible to mold this with all the radial holes going in, unless you had like a 14-part slide mold, or a 7-part perhaps. But yeah, so I've basically just gone over that with some Mr. Surfacer and then rubbed it down. But it's made easy for you because you've got this part here, then you've got this part here, and then this cover goes on the top. So it's easy to get in there and sand it. You're not sort of trying to sand between two flanges. It starts off as like just a two-part. I can show you actually, I've got some spare parts. You can see you've got the half of the 14 holes in there. This is the part that goes onto the engine. If I move it, I'll lose bloody focus. And then you've got this part here, which is the front part the prop goes on. And that just pops on there, and you can see that gives you your 14 holes. And what I've done here, I've just put some Mr. Surfacer to clean up that joint. And then you can get around there with a sanding stick and sand that, because it's easy to sand. It's just a barrel. And then you've got this piece here, which just pops on the front, and there you go. And that makes, little focus, that makes the assembly. So it also gives you the bolt detail on the back. So, you know, this has been designed by modelers, for modelers who are also experts in knowing what to get out of a mold tool without using slide mold technology. It's incredible, it's fantastic, and yes, I'm a fanboy. It's bloody wonderful. Even just though, you know, just that assembly of 3 parts gives you that item. You know, when you look at it here when it's painted up, you know, it's bloody gorgeous. Really is nice. You can imagine what it's going to look like with a bit of a wash on it. And by the way, these are the spare parts you get from this kit. This is just from this kit. These are the spare parts you get your Greeblies for doing your sci-fi modding, or your update parts for a roading kit or whatever. So yeah, complete half of a cockpit frame there. So yeah, so we've looked at that. Now then, these push rods. Let's start with this. They come on the sprue, and I've cut them out to paint them. The reason I've done that, so thoughtful. This is what I was saying about like designed by modelers. This goes into the engine like this, and this part here, this is going to pop down into those holes in the top of the cylinder heads there, yeah? So you've got that D-shaped slot, and that D-shaped peg will go down into that hole. So they've put the sprue attachment point on that D-shaped part, so you clean that up and then that's never going to be seen again. And then you've got the pin here that goes into the holes I just showed you in that 3-part assembly. And then what they've done here, they have to obviously put a sprue attachment point here somewhere, so they've put it on the back. So what I've done is cut it off from the sprue, cut it off from the part, and then I was able to sand and get rid of this mold seam on these parts and leave them on the sprue for painting. Da da da! Painting on the sprue. Yes. So yeah, I've been able to leave these on the sprue for painting, which makes them much easier because there's 14 of these, and it makes it easier to hold them, to clean up and everything. So yeah, I mean, the actual rockers here are going to be painted in a different colour, and the ends will be brass. And also, as I've done, there's some brass fittings in the cam drive gear, so I've actually painted the ends of these brass as well. So it just adds a bit of colour. Oh, by the way, these are painted with Vallejo metal colour chrome, because looking at that picture I showed you in the instructions earlier, it looks like they are a very bright polished steel. So you can see these are the ones for the rear bank of cylinders where they're angled off, but again, you've got these sprue connection points in just perfect places. So there's some more for the front bank. So yeah, all in all, just really nice. And then finally, if you remember, it said about plug wiring. Here's the magneto, goes onto this shaft which goes through the back of the engine, and then you've got the engine mount goes on here, then that C-clip part clips over there, and that enables the whole engine to spin. And what I've done here, I've used fine easy line and glued this onto the pins you can see sticking out there, and then once this is assembled, I'll just give these a little pull, straighten them out, and super glue them on the back of those spark plugs. And what makes it really nice with these, rather than like on a radial or a inline engine, is these were actually taut. Looking at reference pictures, they were actually taut, so you can just pull them straight, just like a bit of rigging, dab a bit of super glue on, and they'll, you know, they're hardly going to be seen, they're on the back of the engine, but you know, Wingnut Wings go to the trouble to put this in their instructions and tell you this is how it all goes. You may as well put it in. For what this didn't take any time at all. You know, I stuck a World War I video on YouTube and listened to that while I was doing it. Probably, I don't know, took half, 3/4 of an hour. Did it before it was painted. You can tell I'm not used to using this easy line. When I painted it, the bloody easy line kept flapping about and sticking back in the paint. So there's a bit of tip for you. If you're doing this, paint it first. And it tells you to do this red leather colour. I'm assuming this would have been like a Bakelite material. So I've used Gunn's Cocoa Brown, which I love as a red leather colour. So yeah, so there we go. Why have I done this video? I've done this video because I am absolutely and utterly gobsmacked with this kit. I mean, these guys have done such an amazing job with this kit. I mean, God only knows what the other stuff is like. This is one of their cheaper kits, you know, this is one of their smaller, cheaper kits. So, there you have it, guys. Wingnut Wings. Yes, I'm a fanboy. I'm not afraid, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I am absolutely gobsmacked. What an absolute pleasure. Obviously, all I've done is painted up and assembled a few parts, but I've been checking the fit as I go because everybody knows what, everybody that's followed anything to do with Wingnut Wings knows their tolerances are so high. A coat of paint can stop them gluing together, and if you've airbrushed these Guns metallic paints before, you'll know as well as I do how thin that goes on. And even that, you know, I've had to drill out those holes where those push rods go. So, you know, it's bloody incredible. And I've got a feeling that all of that is going to assemble with no glue. They don't tell you not to glue it, but I don't think it's going to need any glue. I think the little bits of paint here and there are going to be enough to sort of lock it together. I may actually glue the front on where the prop goes, because that's obviously where a lot of weight goes. But then there's the pulley that goes, there's this shaft with my plug leads on it that goes right through, and that's the actual engine mounting part there. So yeah, I'm gobsmacked. I am absolutely gobsmacked. I thought Tamiya were good. I think this is better. I really do. Yeah, I really do. But then I guess it's different subjects. What I must do is build a Corsair F4U R2800 engine and then comment. Maybe I'll do that because I've got one in the stash. Maybe I'll just build that engine and compare the two. Yeah, I've done a Mosquito, so I could compare the inline 6s with the V12s. They're going to be a, you know, inline engine, or not, one's a V, but they're all inline rather than radial or rotary. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this and you want to see more Wingnut Wings stuff, please subscribe. If you don't like this, then dislike, but please tell me why. Oh, one other thing I noticed today, I hadn't noticed, I've actually got a dislike. I got a dislike on my Model Collect B52 inbox review. That's the only dislike I've got, and I can't believe I've only got the one, to be quite honest with you. So thanks, guys, I'm really, really chuffed. And also I've gone over 150 subscribers, so yay, really, really chuffed about that. So yeah, please subscribe, please like, please share. If any of your friends are into Wingnut Wings and stuff, or you know anybody who's a new starter who wants to get into Wingnut Wings, a lot of my builds I do try and sort of not dumb it down, not make it simple, but I do try and show people the easy way around stuff. And you know, I'm learning so people can learn with me. All I've got is being extremely old, as you can see, and a lot of modelling experience, and I try not to use special tools and stuff and get around using normal tools. So yeah, thanks for watching, and keep your eyes open for more stuff. I think I've waffled enough now, and good night.